Hey, have you ever opened up n8n, looked at all those nodes, and just felt a little overwhelmed? What if I told you that to build almost anything you can imagine, you only need to really truly master a handful of them? Well, that's what we're going to do today.
And here it is, the big secret. A massive 80% of all workflows are built with just the core tools we're about to cover. I'm talking everything from a simple Slack notification all the way to a complex pipeline that pulls sales data, reformats it, and emails it out. You really don't need to know all of them. You just need to know the right ones. So think of this as our map for today. We're going to follow the logical journey that data takes inside a workflow. It's kind of like a factory assembly line. First, we get things started and point them in the right direction. Then we make some decisions and control the speed. And finally, we shape the data into its final form and send it out the door. All right, let's start right at the beginning. Every single automation needs a signal to get going, like a starting pistol for a race. In n8n, we call these signals triggers, and they are literally the gatekeepers for your entire workflow. So how do we kick things off? Well, for just testing things out, the manual trigger is your absolute best friend. One click, and you're off and running. If you need something to happen on a regular basis, like a daily report, the schedule trigger is what you're looking for. And for connecting to pretty much any other app out there, the webhook is your secret weapon. It gives you a unique web address that's just always listening for data. You can even hook directly into services like Typeform to grab submissions the second they come in. Okay, so our workflow is live and data is starting to flow in. Now what? We can't just let it run wild, right? We need to direct it, control it, and tell it exactly where to go. This is where we bring in a bit of logic and start to manage the pace. So there are two main ways to direct traffic inside your workflow. The if node is your simple fork in the road. It's a yes or no question. For example, if an email subject has the word urgent in it, it goes down one path. If not, it goes down the other. Simple. But what if you have more than two options? That's when you bring in the switch node. Think of it like a big highway interchange. It can route your data down many different paths based on its value, like sorting your new customers by country. Now, this next node seems incredibly simple, but trust me, it is an absolute lifesaver for your workflows. The wait node, well, it just pauses things for a bit. Why is that so important? Imagine you're hitting an external service with hundreds of requests all at once. You could easily overload their servers, or worse, get temporarily blocked for sending too much traffic. The wait node acts like a safety valve, adding just a little delay between your requests to make sure everything runs smoothly and reliably. All right, we've launched the workflow and we're controlling the flow. Now we get to the really fun part, the core of the factory, shaping and cleaning our data. This is where we take all that raw, sometimes messy information and turn it into something perfectly structured and useful. Okay, if you only pay attention to one single node in this entire explainer, make it this one, the set node. It's used in something like 99% of all workflows. It is, without a doubt, the single most important, most useful tool for data manipulation in all of n8. So what makes it so powerful? Well, it's basically your ultimate data multi-tool. Let's be real. Data almost never arrives in the perfect format. With the set node, you can add new fields, rename existing ones, get rid of columns you don't need. It does it all. You can even do little operations like pulling out just the domain name from an email address. It's the key to getting your data looking exactly how you need it. Okay, so imagine you get a single chunk of data that contains 100 new customer emails. How in the world do you handle each one individually? Well, that's the job of the split out node. It takes that one big package and breaks it apart into 100 separate items. That way, your workflow can loop through and process each email one by one. And of course, after you've processed all 100 of those individual items, you're probably going to want to group them back together, right? That's where the aggregate node comes in. It does the exact opposite of the split out node. It takes all those separate pieces and bundles them back into one single clean output. They're a perfect pair. But what if your data is coming from two totally different places in your workflow and you need to bring it together? That's a job for the merge node. It has a few different ways of working, so let's break them down. Append is the simplest. It just stacks one list on top of the other. Combine by position is clever. It pairs up items based on their order, the first item from list A with the first from list B, and so on. But combine by field is the real powerhouse. It looks for a matching piece of info, like a user ID, in both lists and combines them into one complete record. Super, super useful. So, we've launched our workflow, we've directed the traffic, and we've shaped our data. It's clean, it's structured, It's ready. Now we're at the final stage, delivery. It's time to send our perfected data to its final destination. So where does all this great data end up? Well, for something easy that everyone can access, you really can't beat a good old Google Sheet. If you need something faster and a bit more robust just for internal use, N8 has a built-in data table that's fantastic. But the real gateway to the rest of the internet is the HTTP request node. This lets you send your data to virtually any service or API out there, even if it doesn't have its own dedicated N8 node. And for when you need to do something truly custom, you can always drop in a code or an AI node to extend your power even further. And really, when you boil it all down, that's the entire journey we just took. Almost every workflow, no matter how complex it seems, follows this simple 3-step pattern. You start and steer with a trigger, you make decisions with logic nodes, and you shape and save with your data tools. Once you get this pattern in your head, you've pretty much mastered the logic of automation itself. So here's the thing. You now have the fundamental building blocks for that 80% we talked about. You have the map, and you have the tools. The only question left is the most exciting one of all. What are you going to build first?